Hi everyone. This is my presentation number 2 on rabies by Julia Moan, Infection, Immunity, and Vaccination. Um, how rabies is brought into your cells is utilizing receptors. There's several receptors that they use for entry into your cells. There's two major ones that I'm going to talk about because the other ones, actually, there was little information that I could find. The first one is nicotinic acetylcholine or choline, and it enters the cell by triggering this receptor mediated endocytosis, and it brings it in, and then that interacts directly with the rabies virus glycoprotein. So what the virus is actually wrapped in interacts with that receptor in your cells. um, there's another one, though, this neurotrophin receptor, which I found really interesting, that it's not essential for the rabies to actually infect the host through this receptor, but when it does, it actually moves faster. It like hijacks the transport machinery in your neurons. Like it actually uses the motor proteins and like the microtubules that are in your cells to move towards your central nervous system. So it's not even passive. It's just like it's using your own cell's machinery to get closer to the brain, which is what it wants to do and make encephalitis. It spreads that same way. So it's neuron to neuron, and it's hijacking that axonal transport system that its own motor proteins and microtubule tracks, and retrogradely toward the spinal cord. So it comes in, and instead of going out, it's like moving backwards through your cells. And so you can see it in this picture. It's coming in and then using like your own cells, microtubules, to move towards your brain. There aren't very many anatomical barriers to rabies. Like it's basically just your skin and your mucous membranes that help protect you from viruses anyway. But it's like just coming directly into contact with anything that is infected by this virus. And if they bite you or scratch you, or there was even things I saw online of like if somehow you were getting the saliva from somebody that had rabies, or some organism that had rabies, or even from their eyes, that you could get the vaccine, you could get the virus into your body. But there are these things too, these interferons, I think that's how you say it, such as cytokine. And there was one study I found that said that if you were able to get those, if you were injected with those or get them like moving, they could get your own body to abort the virus, but not all studies showed these. So there's varying results on that. These interferons can limit the viral replication if introduced early enough. But again, rabies is able to interfere with those. Like that's what makes it so crazy, is it turns off that immune response. It makes these interferons, I saw something where they turn to liquid. And so that your cells can't keep them from coming at all. They just start moving through your peripheral nervous system and start coming and trying to get to your brain. And so it gets past those innate immune responses that not most, but viruses get stopped by from your own immune system. And that's what makes it so dangerous. And I was thinking, like, it can evolve and adapt, but for your own adaptive immune response, the hosts die. So it's not like you're spreading it and it's adapting all the time. The host dies. So the only real thing is that when you're given a vaccine, the host can create antibodies that are crucial for neutralizing the virus. It can help clear infected cells, and you have to give it early enough and give that actual vaccine instead of just having your own immune system take care of it. You have to get the vaccine in within 72 hours. Vaccine targets and efficacy. The glycoprotein in rabies is the primary antigen so it's on what's on the outside of the virus, and that's what the vaccine is going for. It triggers a neutralizing antibody, and that gives you that protective and highly effective after exposure. So if you get the vaccine, especially before symptoms start, it's almost 100% effective. But if you don't get it there, it's also almost 100% fatal. It's a really scary thing. So it's like, that's why if you get bitten by a bat, or even like you touch a bat, you should go in and get something within 72 hours. So like the biggest challenge I think is like the timing, and and it's not really so much in the United States, but in like underdeveloped countries and in rural areas where you don't even know that you have it. Like maybe you got a scratch or a bite and you didn't even realize. And it's all about timing. If you can get there within those first 72 hours, you can, you have a really good chance of surviving it. But if you don't, it's almost 100% fatal. And so this is what, and especially like if you're living somewhere you can't get medical treatment, it's a huge deal. And the cost of even getting that treatment is like $3,800. So it's a huge out of like people can't afford it. And so the biggest thing that the World Health Organization is saying is just getting dogs, like domesticated animals, vaccinated for rabies. And that's what's going to help protect people from rabies. Because you can really tell when something is infected with rabies normally. And so like that's why this. So like according to the HOLA Institute, rabies vaccines for humans and domesticated animals are made from a killed virus, but that inactivation process can cause the molecules to become misshapen, so the vaccines aren't showing the right form of the immune system. So it's dead. So it's not showing the correct thing for your own immune system to go after. So you can, get these vaccines, but they're not really doing anything for the fresh vaccine or the fresh virus that's coming into your body. And if we made, this is what from quote, if they made better shaped, better structured vaccines, then immunity would last longer, hopefully. And so that's what they're looking for. They're trying to make these vaccines that would be better. But like, you don't go into the doctor and get a rabies vaccine, but your dog can. But they only last a few years, so you're supposed to get a booster every year. And so if you get the vaccine, if you get it promptly within 72 hours of getting exposed to this, it's 100% effective, most likely. But after symptoms begin, the virus is spreading rapidly and fatally. And that's what's so scary about this, is that it actually doesn't, you don't get symptoms until it's actually in your brain, and then it passes that virus down to your salivary glands, and then that's how it spreads. And so it almost interferes with your immune system, so you're not symptomatic until it gets to the point of fatality. And here's my references. Okay, thanks everyone.